Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 20th of June. So it's a bank holiday in the US. I just got to remember the name is. Let me just bring it up into play there. So bank holiday, it's the observation of the Juneteenth National Independence Day. So that's today. I think this is only the first or second one of these. Second year of these. So hope those that are celebrating are having a great day on that day. So today. So the rest of us have got to put up with a load of speakers now. I was just looking at it's only Lagarde. I was speaking at 2 o'clock. It's mainly afternoon. That's fine. It's just to have a look on here. It's easier. Look, we actually got a whole bunch of ECB speakers. I just realised I'm now speaking like my son, talking about bunches of things. A whole lot of ECB speakers throughout this morning. Now. There are comments that from some that are used in other news. There are comments of a recession expected in the US. There's denial in the UK. A junior Treasury Minister denying that they expect any sort of recession. Good luck on that one. Anyway, they might not call it a technical recession. However, for the people that live here, it will feel like a recession. On that note, let's have a look at the technicals for today then, and we'll start off looking at the euro dollar, and we'll come out to the bigger picture on this. So bounce is still really taking the bounce off of last month's bottom there. That was a double bottom, sort of still in play. It's between a rock and a hard place for me in terms of where it's running here. There's reasons to be looking for the downside. There's reasons to be still playing it. To me, perhaps we've got to just wait for it to show its hand a bit clearer. There is this sort of wedge pattern going on. It's easier to see, and I know I'm putting it on a live bar just before anyone shouts at me, but that will do. There is this wedge forming on the shorter time frames here. My preference would be a breakdown towards the lows, just because of this huge move down here. However, this could equally be a decent a continuation move here up towards its monthly pivot that's just come out there. So back towards that monthly pivot, so it would give us like an A, B, and maybe a C move upwards, or even more than a C. Maybe a third wave up. So a bit in the midst at the moment on the euro. Pound dollar. Well, this also up until Thursday was doing well. Then Friday we saw the sell-off, and another one. It's sort of sitting there amongst just deciding on the shorter. I've been looking at this on the shorter time frame, and to me it just looks like this could roll south. This is what I'm really looking for. It's possibly the clearer of the two European currencies anyway. Dollar yen is a mess. We'll just come out a little bit here. Did soften up again on Friday there as we got risk back on a little bit, I guess. But it's around its prior highs here. Maybe a break through that will get us rolling and see more of this sort of wave. But at the moment it's got its weekly pivot below, which may just draw it. Might see it draw towards that, and it's really a bounce off of that and see what happens if you was looking on the long side. Aussie dollar. So another mess really. All of these are sort of sitting around their prior lows, and it's not far off it, and could at this stage go either way. It's one of those that, as I said, it could be just another wave another shove up. It's had its retracement, and perhaps a shoving up. It's not particularly clear. With all the downside movements, my preference is towards the downside on most of these markets. But so long as they're pushing up, and well, maybe I'll take a ride to the upside. But yeah, it's maybe half size ride. Looking at Canadian dollar, well, we've seen double top here on the dailies and it's selling off at the moment. The US dollar is selling off against the CAD here. Weekly pivot sitting below, which could be a bigger draw here. Again, I've drawn this trend line on here, but there's nothing stopping this, the support wise, until we've got the 50 MA below us. But it's a more significant area around that 129.60-ish area. Okay, so not a lot of clarity there, because there isn't a lot of clarity until the market shows its hand a little bit more. Sometimes you just want to try and force your ideas on this market. I can see opportunities for both sides, which leaves me scratching my head a little bit sometimes, and may just let it just roll its way out this morning. Okay, looking elsewhere, let's just have a look at gold. Let's come out a little bit here, and well, no surprise there, chop chop, not really showing us its hand at all. And whilst it's doing this, for me, it's largely keep away from it. Yes, it's put a higher low in, and well, if it breaks the sort of 1858 area, it will put yet another higher low in, but it's in a bit of a mess, and it could equally just roll to the downside. It's in a chop. Not nice market. Oil, you can hear not nice market probably a lot today. I don't like them when they're sitting in this position, because I think the risk is higher. If you can't see clearly what's happening, or what might happen at least, then they're very dodgy markets. Oil came off last week, really sold off on the Friday, not really doing too much else at this stage, apart from potential further downside. Again, just a sort of bearish flag pattern sitting there. Okay, let's move across, look at other markets, and he's going to fly into... I'm only going to cover Bitcoin today because they're all doing pretty much the same, and it feels like you just Groundhog Day as you look through the markets. Well, what's happening here? Well, Bitcoin, weekend of selling off, making even new lows there on Saturday. Yesterday picked up a little bit, but still looking very, very soft. And what I will do though is just come down the market a little bit here, and as you come down the market, well, are we seeing anything? We're seeing higher lows coming through here, so it's battling its way back up. Its daily pivot is above there, so it's got potential. Sorry, it's not a daily, it's a weekly pivot sitting above there. So it's got some potential of getting back towards that area, but overall for me it really leans on the downside. It's really, really weak, and as I said, most of these currencies, this is Ethereum, it's the alley of Ethereum, just showing pretty much the same thing, which moves me across nicely to the indices. And the odd one out then is the CSI 300 here, having pushed up pretty decently and continued to look a bit more bullish. However, again, when you start looking through a little bit more, maybe the cracks are sitting there. There's some divergences sitting across the highs here, and well, maybe that will roll backwards a bit, but it's outperforming its peers at the moment. The Nikkei, well, it gapped up and then sold completely off. Again, another sign of sort of weakness, is sort of opening interest, but really just selling off again. And the Nifty 50 just seeing a little bounce where it sits at the moment. Now there are some signs. Let's just look at the US markets first. We'll just look at the futures over a similar picture. Really very weak markets at the moment. There's no real difference between any of the three US markets there. Coming across and looking at the DAX, I did notice a potential for those short-term traders. There we go. Looking at the intraday, there is potential of a break this morning towards the upside, a little bit more of a move towards the weekly pivots above there, might just draw it up to the upside. So there's a scope for upside there. However, bigger picture, goodness, it's looking pretty bearish still, and remains in that sort of bearish zone. And as much as we've sort of got interest rates being increased just about everywhere, it's not particularly good for equities. So on that note, I'm going to wish you a safe trading day, and I hope all goes well, and I will be back in the morning. Bye for now. Nothing much to add there.